Let's not talk about anything else for now. Let's just take a screenshot of your current expression. You think this is just your mood at the moment, but no, that's your destiny. Most of us live in a huge deception, and the name of this deception is heredity. Since childhood, we've heard people say, "Oh, the Zhang family's child has poor health because of a weakness inherited from birth. I have a bad temper, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just like my father." We comfortably blame all our misfortunes, whether it's the excess fat on our faces or the chronic diseases whose causes can't be found, on two spiral DNA strands. We treat ourselves as machines with unchangeable factory settings, believing that whether we live to 99 depends entirely on God's mood at the time. What kind of parts did this machine get? If we unfortunately received susceptible genes or early death genes, we feel like prisoners on probation, anxiously waiting for the alarm that could go off at any moment. But what if I told you that the factory manual you're holding can actually be rewritten? What if I told you that those seemingly cold and impartial genes are not your masters at all, but a group of indecisive opportunists? They are eavesdropping on your thoughts every second, and then deciding whether to help repair your body or throw sand into your machine based on your mood. Now even the top biologists have given it a very fancy name called epigenetics. Sounds impressive, right? But in essence, it's just one sentence. Your genes are fixed and unchangeable. But what kind of music they play for people to hear is entirely up to you. Whether it's a joyful melody that makes you want to dance, or a somber tune that makes you want to die. It all depends on the hands playing the instrument. Those hands represent your thoughts. Let's delve into this mind-boggling concept. This whole thing is actually quite absurd. But look at the crazy things modern people do for their health. Some people swallow several different colored vitamin pills every morning, managing their bodies like chemical factories. Some people clang weights around in the gym, their faces contorted as if they're fighting their mortal enemy. Some people argue fiercely with elderly women in supermarkets over so-called organic vegetables. We care immensely about whether the food we eat contains gutter oil or pesticide residue. But we never care about what we put into our minds. You might be eating organic blueberries that cost hundreds of dollars a pound, while in your mind you're mentally torturing your boss, your mother-in-law, and the driver who cut you off, using the most vicious language. You think that's the end of it, that your mental cursing goes unnoticed? No, your body hears it. Every single one of your 60 trillion cells hears it. When that hateful thought flashes through your mind, do you know what happens in your body? It's practically a biochemical crisis. Your hypothalamus, the command center responsible for maintaining order, immediately sounds the alarm. Attention, the host is in a state of extreme anger. Whether it's a tiger chasing him or he simply dislikes someone, prepare for battle. Cortisol floods your bloodstream like a torrent. While a little cortisol is life-saving, it can give you superhuman strength to fight a tiger. You're not fighting a tiger. You're on the subway, in a meeting, or having dinner. Where does all this pent-up energy go? It can only rampage through your blood vessels, corroding your vessel walls, attacking your stomach lining, and shutting down your immune system. Yes, you heard that right, shutting it down. It's like your country is at war. All resources are diverted to making bullets. Who cares about the garbage in the city, whether it's being collected, or if the sewers are clogged? Your immune system is the street sweeper. When you're constantly in this warrior state of anxiety, anger, and jealousy, your immune cells receive the order to stop working. Those cancer cells that are constantly being produced, don't be surprised. Everyone has them. See the police on strike and immediately come out to party. That's why people who are constantly scheming, complaining, and disliking everyone always look dull and sallow, like a rag that can never be cleaned, because their bodies are constantly undergoing a self-inflicted nuclear war. Now look in the mirror and see what you don't like about yourself. Are those deep nasolabial folds etched there by a lifetime of gritting your teeth and suppressing your anger? Is that constantly aching liver area a crater left behind by every outburst of rage? The ancients said that appearance reflects the heart, a saying we've dismissed as mere fortune-telling. But this isn't just philosophy, it's the highest form of physiology. Here's a particularly interesting real-life case, or perhaps a parable, that might send shivers down your spine. There was a sculptor whose craftsmanship was exceptionally skilled, but he didn't carve anything else. He specialized in carving demons and monsters, depicting them in the most ferocious and terrifying ways possible, to make these monsters come alive and create an immersive experience. Every day he would look in the mirror and imagine himself as the man-eating demon he was about to carve. He had to summon the most primal feelings of bloodlust, anger, and greed, making his facial muscles mimic those grotesque expressions. Only by transforming himself into a demon first could his hands carve the essence of a demon. He did this for several years. This is what we call dedication, right? The result? After a few years, he found that no one wanted to be around him anymore. Children cried when they saw him on the street, dogs barked at him. He looked in the mirror and found that his features were still the same, he hadn't been disfigured. But his entire face exuded a repulsive, sinister, and eerie aura, just like the demons he carved. Even worse, he started to get sick, a strange illness with pain all over his body. And no one could find the cause. He had nightmares every night and was on the verge of a breakdown. He went to a temple to seek help from an old monk. The old monk looked at him, didn't give him any medicine, and didn't chant any scriptures. He simply said, "I can cure your illness, but you must first do something for me. Go and carve 100 statues of Guanyin Bodhisattva. There is only one requirement. You must capture the essence of compassion, joy, and generosity." The sculptor had no choice. To save his life, he had to carve. This time, he had to change his approach. To carve the compassion of Guanyin, he had to have compassion in his heart. He couldn't think about killing and arson anymore. He had to think about warm, tolerant, and beautiful things. He had to look in the mirror and try. He smoothed out his furrowed brow, softened his fierce gaze, and let a faint, almost imperceptible smile of compassion grace his lips. This process took several years. During this time, to understand the mindset of a bodhisattva, he had to force himself to comprehend forgiveness and letting go. Whenever the evil within him threatened to surface, he would think, "No. The eyes of the Guanyin statue won't look right," and quickly suppress the evil thought, replacing it with a benevolent one. When he finished carving the 100th Guanyin statue, something miraculous happened. The strange illnesses that plagued him disappeared without treatment. Even more astonishing, strangers began to smile at him on the street, and some even approached him to ask for directions. When he looked in the mirror again, he found that the hideous demon he once saw was gone, replaced by a dignified, peaceful face, even somewhat majestic. He hadn't undergone plastic surgery, he had transformed his heart. This story sounds like a myth, but under a microscope, it's a genuine scientific experiment. This sculptor is a microcosm of each of us. We are all sculpting ourselves every day. Every thought is a carving tool. When you envy others, your carving tool cuts a gash in your blood vessels. When you worry about losing your job tomorrow, your tool is spraying herbicide on your hair follicles. When you watch the news and are filled with righteous indignation, wanting to curse the whole world, your carving tool is frantically driving your blood pressure up. We always think that thoughts are intangible air, but in reality, thoughts are tangible matter. Your current body is a 3D printed product of all your past thoughts. If you don't like the current finished product, fixing the printer itself is useless. Applying makeup, getting facelifts and injections are just painting over a rotten apple. What you need to change is the source code. At this point, some people might get impatient. I understand what you're saying, and I know getting angry isn't good, but I can't control it. When that anger flares up, even the King of Heaven couldn't stop me. This is precisely the second layer of reversal I want to talk about. Many of us have a huge misunderstanding about cultivating a good mindset or maintaining good health. We think that having a good attitude means forcibly suppressing negative emotions. Silently repeating, "I'm not angry," to ourselves, or shouting, "I'm the best," at the mirror like an idiot. That's not a good attitude. That's psychological abnormality. That's self-deception. The anger you forcibly suppress doesn't disappear. It just becomes a hidden bomb, lurking in your lymph nodes, hiding in your thyroid nodules. True life transformation, true modification of gene expression, isn't about forcing yourself to become a saint, but about learning to be an observer. What does that mean? Imagine you're standing on the side of the road, watching the cars go by. Those cars are your thoughts. I'm angry, I'm wronged, I'm worried. How do ordinary people react? Ordinary people see a car, a thought, and immediately jump in. Grab the steering wheel, and race along with the car, even stepping on the gas, afraid that their anger isn't big enough. How do masters do it? A true master stands by the roadside, watching the roaring truck emblazoned with anger rumble past. He doesn't jump on board. Instead, he tells himself, "Oh, it seems my brain is now running an anger program. How interesting. My heart is racing, my palms are sweating. Okay, I'll just watch you perform." This momentary detachment, this momentary refusal to identify with the feeling, is where the miracle happens. Because you haven't fueled that negative thought, you haven't invested your belief in it. It's like a car without fuel, it can't go far before it stalls. Your body won't receive the command to go to war, and your genetic switches won't be haphazardly flipped. This is what Buddhism calls awareness, emptying the mind. We must understand this principle. You are not your thoughts, nor are you your body. You are the observer who uses thoughts and the body. This might sound a bit abstract, but try it, and you'll see how liberating it is. Next time that feeling of, "I don't like this person," arises, don't rush to get angry. Pause for 3 seconds. Ask yourself, who is feeling this dislike? Is it my ego, my need for control, or my old, ingrained victim mentality? When you start asking questions, that negative emotion is already broken. It's like suddenly realizing you're dreaming in a dream. The terrifying monster instantly disappears. This is true health preservation, the most advanced gene editing technology. You don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars buying telomerase or getting stem cell injections. Those foreign substances won't survive long in your anxious body. The best longevity medicine is that moment of shifting your perspective. When you change, "Why am I so unlucky?" to "All of this is meant to help me grow," your body secretes endorphins. A natural painkiller 100 times stronger than morphine. When you change, "That jerk makes me so angry," to "He's also a pitiful person, tormented by his own ignorance," your blood vessels dilate. A more effective vasodilator than blood pressure medication. When you stop insisting on changing everyone into the person you want them to be, when you finally accept that things happen as they do, and let go, your immune system finally withdraws from that endless battlefield. They can finally quietly repair your damaged stomach and clean the waste from your lungs. They can finally quietly repair your damaged stomach and clean the waste from your lungs. Isn't this better than eating ginseng? We often want to have our fortunes told, wanting to know what our later years will be like, whether we'll be lonely when we're old or facing serious illness. But you don't need a fortune teller. Just look at your current thoughts, and the answer is all there. If your heart is filled with calculations, resentment, and fear, even if you live in an ICU-level sterile room, you'll still be living in hell. Your cells will age and deteriorate rapidly in this high-pressure environment. But if your heart is filled with tolerance and gratitude, even if you eat simple food, you'll be living in paradise. Your cells will work calmly and efficiently in this peaceful frequency, doing what they're supposed to do. So stop asking if your fate is good or bad. You, the one listening to these words, the one who can press the pause button when anger arises, are the programmer of your own destiny. Look how fascinating the world is. Scientists searched for a long time with microscopes, only to find that the life-saving remedies were already written in ancient scriptures covered in dust for thousands of years. The Buddha said that all things are created by the mind. The modern translation is that every fluctuation of your thoughts is reorganizing your biological electricity. And your cells are thanking you for breaking through your limitations. You think you're just living your life, but you're actually creating. Your creation is your face, your health, your entire life. Understanding this is quite frightening, because you no longer have an excuse to blame others. But understanding this is also quite exciting, because it means that no matter how old you are, no matter what your current physical condition is, as long as you're willing to start with this one breath, you can change your way of life. You can try to relax your brow, yes, right now. You can try to relax those tightly clenched teeth. You can try to say to the person who makes you grit your teeth, "It's okay, you've had a tough time too. Get out of my head. I'm not keeping you anymore." Do you know that when you make this decision, billions of cells in your body are celebrating? They're saying, "Great, the boss has finally come to his senses. We don't have to commit suicide with him anymore. Isn't this the best fate? Isn't this what's called instant karma? But it's the good kind." So finally, I want to ask you a question. A question that might keep you awake tonight. At this very moment, the thought that's running through your mind, is it feeding poison to your body, or is it feeding it sugar? Don't answer me. Your body is already giving you the answer.